Right, here's Morgan, and we've got 5 folks attending, 6. Let's probably start to see that tick up.
And we do have quorum whenever you're ready to go.
We do.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I am not ready, but that's okay.
Grace, will you make sure that everything is disconnected or like my TV's
Carly,
turned off? That TV.
Carly, let me,
Yes.
I'm going to mute you. Sorry. Um, I'm Abby Stamp. I said that. And I will be assisting the tri-chairs. And I will just wanted to flag for Leticia and Zeb who are here. I'll give you the mic after I'm done if you want to say any opening remarks. Um, I'll be assisting for today's meeting, and the Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or get on our interested parties list by emailing oha.measure110@oha.oregon.gov. That email address and more information is also available about the council can be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff who are present in the meeting space introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency and if you are subject matter expert, your area of expertise. I'll now offer some opening remarks to Zeb and Leticia, our newest of the 2 of our 3 tri-chairs, for any opening remarks before we jump into Lane County today.
I'll just say welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody. Annalise, I see you over there. I haven't talked to you in a while. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Caroline, Jackie. I'd name you all off. Morgan, everybody there. Anyway, I'm here. So
Great. Thanks, Zeb. Leticia, anything you want to say?
Yeah, also just want to welcome everyone. And I am here. I'm driving home, so my camera's off just for a moment while I get home. And yeah, looking forward to voting today. Thank you.
Great. Before I do a call for conflicts on Lane County, I want to remind folks that these are public meetings and make statements about things that they, know outside of information that's on the application, and particularly when that information might not have been fact checked. It does perhaps creates a perception by those watching that decisions are being made partially on inaccurate information. So just to simply reiterate, and we were just talking about this before we started, how important it is to keep the conversation and your decision making based on what's in the application. And for folks who are really integrated into this world and into this work that is really challenging to do, I'll just continue to give that reminder at opening of every OAC meeting and every panel review meeting. So what we have to go on is what folks provided us. Anything else before I jump into a call for conflicts for Lane County, Oregon?
Attendance.
Her internet.
I'm so
There,
sorry.
there you are. You're back. We need to come
Yes.
back.
Okay. On me, let me know she's going to be absent today. Amy, are you here? Caroline?
Here.
Hi, Caroline. Dharma is absent. Hubert? Oh, Hunter?
Here.
Hi, Hunter. Jackie?
Here.
Hey, Jackie.
Hey.
Josh?
Here.
Hey, Josh.
Can you hear me?
Keisha? Yes.
Here.
Hi, Keisha.
Hey.
Leticia?
Here.
Hi, Leticia. Linda is not here. Mason?
Here.
Hi, Mason. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Melissa? Morgan?
Here.
Hey, Morgan. Ryan?
Here.
I ran. Sabrina, does she make it? Yes, there you are. I'm so sorry. My internet really is a baby when it comes to extreme temperatures. Sabrina, I have you marked down Zeb,
Yes, I'm here.
and Sam is not. Annalise,
Here.
hi, thank you. One moment. And we have quorum at exactly 11. And I believe, Ryan, was that you who said that you needed to leave at 5:15?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna work on getting some more members to join so we don't lose quorum, but I'll keep y'all updated.
And Melissa joined us. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Howdy.
So we will
Great.
still be good with quorum when Ryan leaves.
Yes, but if anybody else needs to hop off, don't just go. Like, give a holler so we can make sure we. Oh, Sabrina's leaving at 5:30-ish. Okay, we'll see what we can do. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump on in to Lane County so you can see the list of providers and I'll do a call for conflicts. Okay, the applicants in Lane County, Oregon are Act on Recovery, Addiction Counseling and Education Services, Black Thistle Street Aid, Boulder Care, Center for Family Development, community outreach through Radical Empowerment, Daisy Chain, HIV Alliance, Housing Our Veterans, Ideal Option, Insight Recovery, Laurel Hill Center, Live Grow Share, Looking Glass Community Services, Oregon Outreach Clinic, Oregon Recovers, OSLC Developments, Plaza de Nuestra Comunidad, Restored Connections Peer Center, Shelter Care, the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center, Transponder, True Colors Recovery, Veterans Legacy, Whitebird Clinic, Youth Era. Those are the applicants in Lane County. Are actual or potential conflicts, Hunter?
I have an actual conflict. I work at Live Grow Share.
Okay. Thank you, Hunter. Mason?
Work at Youth Era.
Yes, you do. Thank you. So for the record, if there's an actual conflict, oh, and Josh too, go ahead.
I work at Insight Northwest Recovery.
That's right, you sure do. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So the directions are if you have an actual conflict, you turn off your video, you're not allowed to participate in the conversation. And if there is quorum needed for a vote, then you are allowed to vote at the very end. So if Hunter and Josh could do the favor of lowering your hands, that would be helpful for me in facilitating. Thank you so much. And I also wanted to flag for Carly in attendance that Sam is here. Okay, great. Perfect. So we're going to start at the beginning. Y'all know the drill. We've been doing this a lot together. Lane County formula is $38.9 million. It's considered an extra large county, and the base is a $5 million quantity. And here's our homepage, right? So all of the applicants are on the left. If they're in that goldenrod color, they are current grantees applying for additional ongoing funds. If the service area is green, that means both of the two reviewers recommended funding for that service area. If one of the two reviewers recommended, it is in blue. And if it is in orange, which it looks a little salmon-y colored on my screen, or red-ish, that's supposed to be orange, that both of the reviewers said, no, we wouldn't recommend funding that for a variety of reasons. In column J here, you've got all of the program costs. So if there are questions about, for example, Insight Northwest, which looks like there's nothing budgeted in the service areas, you'll see that it's a $5.3 million program cost, and you can look it up in your applications and take a look at the budget and see where those dollars may go in those service areas. So then in the pink, you've got the total entity request, or the not to exceed amount. And then, so I'm going to go into the panel review recommendations. So it was a really rough conversation because this county was, all of the asks added up to $103 million over the formula amount. So let's see, we had Morgan was there for a bit this morning, and
No.
no, you weren't?
Not, unfortunately, I wished I could have been.
I missed you
Sorry.
all. Okay, well because we've talked about Lane a couple of times now because
Oh,
it was
that's
such a
right.
long conversation, so bear for the part of it. But what it came down to was focusing primarily on existing providers. My recollection is that one of the providers was removed, and we don't have a note because we just did it, but I can pull up and identify which one it is. Hold on, I have a note. And then it was bringing the providers down to that limit. I wrote down who it was. Sorry, one second. Restored Connections. And you'll see more information about them at the bottom there. But these are all of these were the recommendations. And this is what we got down to was 65% of the original ask, including that cap at 5 million. And you'll see for some folks like here, Daisy Chain was a $10 million ask, Looking Glass was 17 million, Plaza de Nuestra Comunidad was 15 million. So those were all brought down to that $5 million. And then an additional 65% of their ask. And if you add it all up, you can see that that's $1.7 million under formula. And the panel review said, that was so painful and terrible. Let's give that money over to the OAC can maybe decide where to put some of it back. So that's what happened yesterday, this morning, and on our last meeting. And here are your priorities. So which includes, as a reminder, and I'm going to have to zoom out. I apologize for your eyes. Existing providers and culturally specific providers, which brings in Act on Recovery, Black Thistle Street Aid, Boulder Care, Insight, Live Grow Share, Oregon Outreach Clinic. Oops, sorry, and my mouse got stuck. 4D and True Color. So coming over to your totals, what that looks like. So we did take out to find a new TE, just removing some costs, admin and indirect, and any service area expansion. So if someone had 2 service areas last go around and they're applying for 3, we took out that third to just keep them at doing the same thing. Simply to allow, and I feel like I need to say this again and again as applicants are watching, it's not that applicants and providers can't use money to pay for indirect and all of the things it takes to run a program, but simply they'll have a new total grant that will need to shift around the services or how many people can be served so that it can still be a fully functioning service area, but simply working with the new budget that needs to be right sized. Okay. So column P is the total either a $5 million cap and all of the other funds carved out to start with something lower. Then the next columns over is 70% of that, 60%, 50% down to 49. So getting down to 49% is what gets to just $24,000 under the formula. So it's 38.9, recall, is the formula amount. So yes, heartbreaking. And so there's a note here because you asked for the percentage of the totals to be reflected. No organizations get 50% or more of their original ask. Yeah, yeah. So it's back to prioritizing, what you need to think about. But let me just get through the end of this because I'm a broken record here. This is all of the existing providers, period. And all of the math, and getting down to 71.5% gets somewhere under the formula. And again, with significant reductions needing to work with providers on what that would look like for them. Keisha.
Yeah, I was just saying we should start off and start focusing on existing providers because the priorities, this is a priority too, but yeah, it's really not enough money to go around. And it'll be detrimental to cut some of our existing providers because they're already going to have to get a substantial cut in their budgets already. So I would want to focus on existing providers.
Okay. Sabrina.
I also agree on the existing provider list, and I'm not sure if it was at the 71%. I couldn't see which line item that was. Is that a Q? Q, so
Yeah.
existing priorities, and
It
then
does.
Q if it brings us under formula is what I like.
It does. I would note the several organizations fall under less than half of their original, just being really transparent about kind of what this all means. It's looking at that 4% because that doesn't look quite right, but like Looking Glass would get 20% of their ask. Keisha?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I would look at it in that sense, but like, I would go by what was the cap for that county. Like, if the cap was like 5 million and they asked for 12, it's kind of like I wouldn't. I don't know. It's kind of hard to compare when they ask for so much over. Like in the application, it says the cap is 5 million. So I don't know. Like, really, are we really cutting that much percent of the ask? Yes, but like of the um of the formula though, it's not that much percentage of the formula versus what the ask was that was way over the cap.
I know Abby was having some connection issues earlier. She may have just gotten kicked off.
Um, Keisha, I had raised a similar point to what you just said in a previous meeting, and they told me that actually applicants didn't know what the cap was when they applied.
But Abby said it was on the application. It's on the application.
I can confirm that the county cap, that formula that you voted on as a guideline was included in the RFGA.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if it's my turn next. I don't see Abby and I see Morgan pinned as my main screen, so I don't know if I had some kind of technical difficulties or I lost the main screen.
No,
Mm.
Abby just texted that her internet went out. So we're just trying to pause for 1 second to get everything going again and keep the meeting going. So give me 1 second. And I think Jason and Carly are going to help out as well.
So I know that, sorry, I know that they put together a backup plan in case her internet went out. We are just trying to figure out what that is. One moment.
Um, that's no right. I think while OHA figures that out, um, OAC members, especially y'all with your hands up, you'll probably remember what you were already going to say, right? Zeb, Sabrina,
Yeah,
is your hand still up?
yeah, my hands up. Keisha, did you have anything else?
No, it's kind of hard to navigate without Abby.
Okay, so I was just going to say that does what Keisha just said. It doesn't seem like that big of a cut at that point, especially if the caps were on the RFGAs for some of these organizations. So that just reiterates, I
Well,
feel
Sabrina,
comfortable. Yeah.
I just want to clarify that what was on the RFGA was the county formula. So the total amount for Lane County, not the 5 million per org.
Yes, the 5 million cap was on there.
I don't think so
He
because
just he
we didn't decide that
he
until way
just
later.
said that.
No, they
No, we
said the
did
county
before
cap
the
for the
applications.
OHA. What was on the RFGA? Was it the funding formula for the county or the amount per organization?
So it was what was included was the I can share. Actually, Carly, can you make it so I can share my screen?
Yes, give me one moment.
And I was still in the process of having a conversation. So as soon as you get that, Jason, if I can continue speaking.
I'm back.
Oh, yay.
Sorry. Yeah, we lose the internet a lot when it gets stormy. So apologies.
The question on the floor was the formula, the county formula paper that was there, and it was part of the RFGA. Did it include both the total county cap and the large, small,
Ah,
which it included all of this?
so and y'all in the as the OAC voted a few weeks ago to see reductions based on a progressively increasing reduction, a cap based on small, medium, and large counties. And we looked at the formula and one existed and thought that was the best tool to use.
But just to clarify, so Sabrina's in the middle of talking. I want to say that I interrupted her because I felt like there was a misunderstanding happening about what was on the RFGA. So all that the organizations knew when they applied was what the total funding for their county was, correct? They did not know that there was going to be a per organization cap.
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
right. So Multnomah County's total there is $80 million with no idea that we were going to get 320 million worth of requests. And then how do you work with that?
Okay, so Keisha, like I was saying,
So did they know that the organization cap was 5 million or no?
No, because that is what you as an OAC asked for OHA to come up with a design to help figure out how to make reductions.
and we asked that like 2 weeks ago, and these applications were months ago. So,
But we
all
made
right,
the $5
Sabrina,
million
I'm sorry that I
vote
interrupted you.
before. So I don't know what you're talking about.
And we can have Carly or Kathy pull up that motion and when that was, we can put it in the chat. Okay, I'm so sorry. Chaos. Sabrina was talking. Yes?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So I misquoted and I misheard what Jason said, and then Morgan and Keisha kind of solidified what was, and then you added what was the final point. But I still feel comfortable moving forward with the existing providers list. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Zeb?
I have a question for OHA and other council. Um, when we were passing the motion, like the caps and whatnot too, didn't around that time we specify that organizations could not expand to other service areas and not above 25% of what they already had? Did we pass? Was that a motion that we actually passed, or is it something we discussed?
I am trying to look that up right now, Zeb.
The reason I ask that is because, like, even when we break it down to who are the original approved providers, it's extremely over what the county's allotment is, and you would think it would be closer if everybody was held to that 25% standard in terms of expanding services. It should be relatively closer to the cap, I would think. And I just want to know if that's being followed. As there's so many counties and there's so many agencies and so much stuff to track. I understand. I just want to know if that's being tracked.
Shannon?
Hi there, Shannon O'Fallon, Oregon DOJ. Zeb, are you asking whether or not in the RFGA there was that limitation?
No, just when we were passing motions, like when we passed the motion on the caps, small, medium, and large for the
Oh,
counties,
sort of
we
more
also talked
recently.
about
Okay.
we didn't want organizations asking for more than 25% what they previously had asked for in terms of expansion of services.
Yeah, I don't remember there being a percentage, but we'll make sure we get the exact verbiage up. There was don't pay for expansion, have folks do what they're already doing was basically what the takeaway was, but I want to make sure there's the exact language in there.
Yeah, and I'll wait for the transcript. I mean, for my recollection, it was 25%.
There it is. Oh, that was from July from the formula. We're talking about, it was like 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago, something like
Yeah.
that.
It was when we talked about the caps.
Yep. Yep. When I made you tell me what your priorities were so I could help do this work for you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly where that one is. I'll find
Okay.
it.
Zeb, do you have more question, more comment?
No, I just want to know if that's something we've been tracking, like OHA's been tracking in terms of, because I know that you said that agencies in Lane County, services that they were not previously approved for were removed, right? And so I
Yes.
was wondering if that was tracking in all the counties.
Yes. That's been from after Baker, which had 2 applicants that you approved both of them. We got right into Benton. We're like, oh, how are we going to do this? That was one of your criteria. So, someone was funded for peers and housing last time, and then they applied for peer housing and harm reduction. We would indicate on the spreadsheet that amount for that harm reduction and then pull it out. Again, not saying they can't do it, but just saying we got to find a way to meet the county's formula. Hey, provider, you asked for X hundreds of million or tens of millions. We've got this amount. What can you do with that? Can you include harm reduction? Remember, this is just to get to a new NTE.
Yeah, I that conversation, Carly, that's not exactly what I'm thinking. I want to hold things up, but I just want to make sure that I was on the same page, like that organizations are not applying for new categories that they weren't previously approved for, or they're not going above 20. Well, if it's not something we discussed, but I just know for Lane County, it was mentioned today that organizations that weren't approved previously for that service it was removed from this as an option for this
And
county.
yes, and that's been true with every county we have presented to you,
All
all
right.
22 of them,
All right.
23, 4 of them.
All right, thank you.
Yep. And I'll just continue to reiterate, and Melissa, you've got the ball next, is that it's not saying you can't do that, but this is your new grant amount. And then I'll need to go back and talk with the providers about what is feasible. How would they want to build their service areas based on what's going to be available for them to use, which might look really smaller. I don't know. We don't know yet. Melissa?
Thank you. Will you put up the panel recommendations again?
I'm going to ask Jason to do that in case I tank out again, because I know
Okay.
that would be really disruptive. And Jason, do you mind
Thank you.
being the usher here?
I just put a motion that happened on the 29th of January in there. OHA suggested funding decisions that prioritize existing providers with no expansion of services and implement all OAC prioritization for each application. It goes on.
Yep. To reduce any remaining overages, OHA suggests reductions by implementing distinct absolute dollar service caps for small, medium, and large organizations relative to their county size. And then beyond that, if they're look towards putting the budget between 70% of the budget ask and their full budget request to make it retroactive. Okay, so Melissa wanted to see this. Did you have a question about this, Melissa?
Sorry, I lost my mute button.
You found it.
I found it now. Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you. Thank you, Jason, for putting that up. So with this panel recommendation, I mean, like you said, this is absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Was it decided when y'all met before what the $1.7 million was going to go toward and how it was going to be split? Was that already decided?
No.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steph, but can you not see both of them in the chat? I dropped it, and then Kathy dropped the same one.
Zips, you mute.
Sorry, mute button was changing all over the place. I'm sorry to hold up this process. I just thought that what Kathy said verbally sounded different than what she put in the chat. but maybe maybe not.
No, I just didn't complete it, and then my internet gave out in the middle of that, and Abby read the rest of it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Keisha?
Yeah, I know we got to speed along this process, but I was referring to that what Carly dropped from July, that option 3, where it put the caps in each county. I guess you can't see the full thing, but that's what I was referring to with the counties knowing about the caps.
Yeah, and the counties knew about the cap, and the partners were invited to apply individually. And here we go. Morgan?
But yeah, just to clarify, because that's not exactly what you said, Keisha. You were saying that people applied for more than they knew they could get. So like Looking Glass here, $17 million not to exceed. All they knew was that Lane County's formula was 38 million. So I mean they did
So
apply for
you're gonna apply for 1/3 of the county's cap.
right.
Yeah, they
So
applied
still
for
doesn't
half.
make sense.
Yep.
Right. So that was your concern essentially. It's not that they applied for literally more than they were allotted, but you know, we can look at the total amount for the county versus how much they asked for. But anything beyond that, they didn't really have more direction. All the other priorities and the not expanding services, those are all things that came after they applied. But so this is the panel review. Which currently funded organizations did not make it?
One organization, Restored Connections Peer Center.
Shelter care.
And
Yeah,
shelter.
Dharma was there. Oh, and shelter care. Thank you, Dharma.
Yeah. And like the piece on the Looking Glass too is that they were hitting capacity every night. They said in their application every night. And so they were like maxing out every night.
That's good context for their ask. Thank you. And Dharma, were you there? Can you give me context
I
on
was there. Yeah, I was there this morning. I was
connections and the other one?
Shelter care, and the other one was Restored Connections Peer Center. And so you can see that they only had the one area for Restored Connections Peer Center, and it had like $5 million in program costs. So you can probably see my line of reasoning there. That it was, the one and they had the lowest score out of all of the panel reviews. If you look on Restored Connections scoring in shelter care. They did like an index score. I don't know if we have Ariana's other spreadsheet because that was the one that really sold us on it. Or sold
Yeah,
me on
I mean, I'm looking at, you're between the existing providers.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, right. And I think we've all had conversations about what that means, right? And it's about the thoroughness of the answer, not whether, and that period. So I see Dharma, Keisha, and Morgan. Whose hands really up? All right, do you have more, Dharma? No, Keisha.
I'm gonna pass to Morgan. Yeah, if they had questions more.
And then shelter care didn't make it because I'm sorry. Did you already say that, Dara?
Shelter care was I'm sorry here. Shelter care was just the lower ranked one. They were the lowest rated one by the panel. They had a 9. And so they're not a culturally specific provider, and they were lower rated from comparatively to the rest of them. So the panel and I agreed that that they were the way to go because there was shelter care services and Restored Connection Peer Center services. Both seem to be replicated in other existing providers throughout the burn, and there wasn't anything specific about those two that would make us say like, oh, we need to keep them in here. Other than the fact that we obviously want to keep everyone we can in, but we couldn't do that. So
okay,
that's what we went with. And the 65 reduction is where we ended up landing on too. So
okay,
Keisha?
that's
Oh, sorry, Morgan. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Keisha, go ahead, then we'll revisit Morgan again.
Yeah. So still, I'm simply saying that, I mean, a lot of these asks are outrageous. I know they went for whatever, but when we look at the cap, I mean, we're not really reducing their services because they didn't have 10, 12, $15 million worth of services from us. So Um, yeah, that's the point I'm making. Like, it's really coming from, the ask, not the ask, but like what we, what is rational and what we came down from, what's rational.
Morgan?
Just on the two previously funded ones that didn't make it, especially the one that is kind of getting penalized because they put all of their budget into program costs. This is just that same like apples and oranges. Either, they had like a less experienced grant writer, or they just took a different tact because the directions didn't, specify where to put the expenses. So I would just really want to make sure that, because, if they're previously funded and it looks like they're a decently sized program based on their ask, like, I mean, and we don't fund them now, that could mean people losing their jobs, people losing services that they're currently accessing. And just, but even when I look at the scores though, it doesn't look like they're like literally the lowest, or if you average out the reviewer scores, they're not the lowest, but I think those scores don't mean much, really. I mean, it's just how thoroughly they answered the question. And so I just want us to take a really close look before not funding the orgs that we already funded without like some pressing concern about their application, especially the one that just did their budget wrong. Because the first time I submitted a grant application for my nonprofit, I did my budget.
I think it was also covered by Medicaid. They were coverable by Medicaid. So I think that was the other piece that came up.
Okay.
And I have the materials up if anybody has specific questions they would like me to answer. And Sabrina has the mic.
Thank you, Abby. Yeah, and I agree with Morgan. And I have seen other organizations on the review panels and whatever, where they didn't mark all of their boxes with zeros, but it did show up in their program cost. And so since that is, some of these are already providing services, I would also hate to see them be cut unless we were doing it to everybody across the board.
Okay.
So which
Caroline.
organization is it? Sorry.
This is Restored Connections. Oh, Morgan, just put it in the chat. Caroline and then Dharma.
I think we need to respect those who reviewed and gave us the rationale behind why those two were not recommended, because we dealt the same thing the last time. Lane County, requested triple the amount. I know that everyone needs the money, but we're going to be here in another hour. And so I'm willing to go with the third one. And let me see which one it was. The one with the existing programs minus the two. And then was it 70% or 71%?
You're talking about the panel review recommendations from this morning, the ones that are on screen now.
Yeah, so those are the ones that are existing minus the two, correct?
Correct.
And with the explanation as to why. And no one's going to get the money that they're requesting. And so, Morgan, you're correct. People are going to lose their jobs. And it's unfortunate. It's always a chance when you're going to be putting positions into grant. And if we would have had more money, we probably wouldn't have to have these type of discussions. But I think we need to listen to the recommendations. And I feel really bad in terms of the fact that we cannot give anyone what they requested. A good grant writer will always ask for the max. And so I'm sure if they cannot make it work with what we're going to recommend, then they're going to have to make a decision if they could carry on or not, or they have to reduce their program. So, this is heart-wrenching, but I think we need to probably move on.
Dharma?
There was a little bit more context. If you could scroll down, Abby, sorry.
It's Jason.
Or
Jason's
Jason,
driving.
if you could scroll up. Jason, sorry. It's the original one. The original ask from sorry, shelter care was also or it wasn't shelter care, I apologize. Yeah, shelter cares was so small that I think that taking the cut for them at the 70% or whatever, or 60%, whatever, was going to make them really small. And so it wasn't going to make it feasible. If I'm recalling now, that's what that was the rationale on shelter care. So their original ask was so small that having them undergo that big cut wasn't going to make it feasible. It didn't seem to us initially, from what Ariana's kind of suggested formula was, and I think we kind of agreed on that rationale. So I just wanted to offer that extra context. And there's no good decision here. So
Morgan.
Thank you. I mean, that does make sense, especially spreading that out across 4 years. The ask is pretty small. But I just, having been a panel reviewer myself many times, I just don't want us to get that confused with being the ones who actually reviewed the applications, because we're having live discussions on a meeting for 10, 20, 30 more minutes about the county. But I just wouldn't want anyone to say my word is gold just when I am getting the information that's on my screen here. I would probably want to try to keep the at least restored connections in there, but I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine either way. So however the council wants to go. Dharma, do you feel strongly about not funding them?
I don't feel strongly that they were filling a gap in the burn. It's not that you know what I mean. I don't feel strongly about one way or the other right now because I just feel like there's the services are being met. We're gonna have to make cuts somewhere. And if the panelists didn't originally agree to fund them on both areas, I think, or actually no, the 16th, sorry, these two areas were just not supposed to be on there, right? So it's just the peer support that they're doing.
Correct.
So
Could we just give them the overage right now, where we're over the 1 point?
That's what percentage of their ask is that?
It's like 25, but that's not unheard of. Some of these others are also down to like 25. That's Morgan math, don't trust me.
I would do that if that's what folks feel like is best.
Can you say that, Keisha, I see you. Can you say that one more time? Because there's that 1.7 floating around. Is that what you're
Yeah, just to give that to restored connections.
and have okay. Okay. Thank you. So I want to make sure I'm tracking. Keisha, go ahead.
So I was gonna suggest that we add back in with the 1.7 over, adding back in shelter care because their ask is really what wasn't that much, was it?
No, it was I think it was about 600. Yeah, 686.
Yeah, I would just like I would advocate for funding them and putting them back in because they were previously funded also, and it's an area a housing that's I think it's housing that's really needed.
Okay, so Keisha's go ahead, please, Dharma. Go ahead.
Shelter care is only for peer support, though. I know that they said that we're housing, right? But they're only for peer support.
So restored connection is
shelter.
Oh, I see that now. I'm sorry.
Yep. So it sounds like there are two different ways of thinking. So taking it sounds like there's thank you, Jason, the panel review recommendations, and with that, I'm calling it surplus, but we know it's not, the 1.7 in the red, and distribute that between either the two organizations, Shelter Care and Restored Connections, or just Restored Connections. Those are the two discussions I've been hearing so far. Does that sound right? Keisha, your hand's up. Right, more to say?
Yeah. No, yeah, I wasn't, advocating for restored connections. We already have a reason why they got amped out, but I know shelter care, the reason why is because the ask was so low, and to go below that, it wouldn't help. But I think we can fully fund them and still have some overage to probably give back to some of these organizations.
Morgan.
I would honestly like to see both of the previously funded. The only thing is, like, we're giving Restored Connections 25% of their total ask or so. But if we do that with shelter care, it's pennies. They're getting 120,000 over 4 years. That can't even.
No, I was talking about their full ask, if that was their ask.
Oh, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to find a more equitable way to split that overage with two previously funded organizations, and we can do it with Restored Connections at a very low portion of their ask. So, like, is there a way we could fund both of the orgs with the overage?
Melissa.
Seeing as there's a lot, we all know this is brutal, but with the sheer amount of peer support that is available in this county, and it seems like with the Restored Connections that's their primary thing. I think that with the shelter care, it's a better option to fund shelter care at their full ask and then spread the rest of the money amongst the other already there providers that are listed. So not including Restored Connections, but throwing in shelter care and then spreading the rest of what is left over after funding shelter care, and spreading it across the rest of them.
Thank you, Melissa. Got three hands. Keisha, Dharma, then Zeb, starting with Keisha.
No, I second that. What Melissa said. That's kind of what I was saying. But yeah, I second that.
Okay, is that a motion?
Well, I wasn't motioning. I was just giving my
Okay.
2 cents at this point.
Well,
I mean, I
Keisha,
can motion.
No, Keisha said second, so I was like, what was that? All right,
I
let's go to.
I can motion.
let's if it's okay, let's finish the hands that are up, and then we'll get to it. Okay, to whatever folks want to move forward with. Okay, Dharma.
I think that with the county so split up right now too. I don't know if the split across everyone's going to make as much of a difference as it would be to bring up either the 19, 21, or the 31%, because those folks are really low a part of their ask, in that bottom one. So I'd really advocate for Daisy Chain to receive the rest of that, because I think it's almost one of their full FTEs for one of their doulas. So, and that's a really specific service that's not really found other places. So,
With permission, I want to pop to Sabrina because I know she's got to jump in a minute.
Sorry, I just wanted to know which one we're leaning towards right now. Which is it, the panel review recommendations, existing providers, or which one?
Panel review recommendations with trying to bring back potentially one of the providers that was cut out at this morning's meeting. Okay, so Keisha, you're right after Melissa. Did you have more to add before I call on Zeb?
No, I'll wait.
Okay, all right, Zeb.
I just want to add something for Restored Connections because I have their application right here, and I was one of the reviewers. And forgive me, there's a lot of reviewed applications. But one thing that they talked about is they have a zero barrier drop-in center in downtown Eugene, which was accessed 2,066 times in 2023. They help people get the detox. They were funded in two categories last time. So it sounds like they have a drop-in center as part of what they do provide. I wanted to just make sure we have that information.
So is that Medicaid funded or no?
Let me check the fiscal narrative real quick. Just bear with me a second. You guys can keep talking and I'll find the information.
Thanks, Zeb. Keisha, you said you're going to wait. Sabrina?
My hand was still up, but I did have an idea. Like, I really advocate for keeping restored connections in there, considering what Zeb said. And if there's some way we could take a little bit off the top, and especially because we're kind of stepping away from our precedent that we have been doing, which is providing funding to existing providers. There's some way we can, if we're going off the panel review, I don't know how many new providers are in that.
So the panel reviews all
None.
existing providers only. Yeah. And just less two of them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Morgan.
What if we give Shelter Connections 60% of their ask and the rest to Restored Connections? Because with Zeb, thank you very much for bringing out specifics from the application. That does sound like a service that is probably pretty unique and is actually being utilized a lot. So I would hate to not fund that drop-in center.
Yeah, but I thought when they put the notes, something, or Dharma was talking about that they're Medicaid funded. Why?
Yeah, Zeb, what'd you find? You pull up the technical thingy and you're muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I have the fiscal technical narrative right in front of my face, but it will not let me open the file. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Okay, if you could pull that up, that'd be great.
Yeah. Mine pulled up. Restore Connections Peer Center is neither a billable service nor a Medicaid health plan provider. They do have one FTE peer mentor funded by Pacific Source, and it's a fee-for-service contract, not a grant. And they will not supplant Measure 110 covered funds.
So what was in their ask?
I just closed that. Of course I did. All peers. Yes, the drop-in center. Here we go. Admin staff, lead certified recovery mentors, entry-level certified recovery mentors, first aid, peer apocalypse, ongoing training, office supplies, basic needs for individuals, mileage for staff, admin costs. Yep. Under the narrative for the personnel, increase staff capacity to meet community demand. Our CPC has a no wait list policy, and our immediate services are saving lives. And I think that's the same stats that Jeb read off. Yep. So, who's next? Keisha, do you got more?
No, I'm still leaning towards I'm just fully funding shelter care, and I'm just wondering what was left over. Even if we bring back restored, their ask was significant that we don't have enough to really touch that. I mean, a little bit, but
Morgan?
Seeing Dharma in the chat, I want to make a motion 60% of their ask and then give the rest of the current surplus to Restored Connections.
Morgan moves.
Second.
Dharma seconds. Discussion. Well, Jason maths. Keisha, sorry.
Well, the whole point of them taking shelter care off of the formula was because if they cut them because their ask was so little, that wouldn't be enough to do nothing with. So I'm against like 60% of 600,000. Like that's really nothing.
Other discussion? Caroline?
I think we need to leave that up to the organizations. If we don't give them sufficient dollars, and it's not going to be, they're not going to be able to open, and they're going to have to be the one to tell us, because the cut is not only to them, it's for everyone. It's, we might find out from some of these others that they might not have sufficient dollars to run their program. And they're going to have to make the choice then to not to take the funds at all. And so I think we need to probably just, it's unfortunate, but we need to move on.
Keisha.
Yeah, Carolyn, I was saying that's what the panel review was saying. That's why they had removed them. And that's why I put them back on it like full because they asked for so little. Not just me, but like that's why the panel had took them off because if you gave them so little, there was no use.
Dharma, and then we'll see if there's anybody else.
And I think that we decided to leave it with the overage so that y'all could decide, so that we could decide what was best, because we decided that we didn't have enough time to finish deliberating it at the time. And I think I've been swayed towards keeping both of them if we can. And so the 60%, by the way, too, did not come from consensus out of the panel. It was a suggestion on a formula that we got from Ariana. And so it wasn't necessarily like something that was like we came to that decision either. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I think we should let the counties decide, like Carolyn said.
Okay. Zeb.
And I just want to say something real quick. Some of the costs that Restored Connections was asking for was some like executive director. And I just want to make sure that all the prioritized position are the direct service positions. And so when we are giving the funds to these agencies, when they're getting less than what they've asked for, that they prioritize the direct service providers. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. There we go. Thank you so much, Jason. Got the motion in the chat. Looks like discussion is closed. Carly, can you vote, please?
Yes. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
I have a conflict.
I'm so sorry. I usually mark them red. Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Nope.
Leticia? Mason? Nope. Sorry. Melissa?
Goodness gracious. No.
Thank you. Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan? He may have stepped out already. Sabrina?
Yes, and I'm logging off. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
Passes with 7. And I am going to double check quorum.
Please.
Real
Thanks,
quick.
Carly.
We're good to go.
Okay. So I'm really enjoying meeting and participating in your really hard conversations. And I'm really sorry to do this, but we need to talk about Marion County now. So Marion County is the last county in our phase 2 of applications. And then next time we convene, we'll move into phase 3. So I was thinking, put a couple of little ones in there, but I'm sorry. That's the way it goes. Jason, if and when you're already on Marion County. Gosh, I love not screen sharing. This is amazing. I will read off the providers for Marion County and do a quick call for conflicts. And those applicants are Allied Health Services Tigard, or the CRC Health Oregon, Boulder Care, Bridgeway Recovery Services, Church at the Park, Community Services Consortium, Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, Community of Oregon, HIV Alliance, Ideal Option, Iron Tribe Network, Marion Services, Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency, Painted Horse, Pathfinders, Soaring Hearts Recovery Homes, the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center, WVP Health Authority, doing business as Mid Valley IPA, and Youth Era. Are there any actual or potential conflicts of interest? Mason.
Yeah, you there. See you later, guys.
Mason.
I'll just fill in the void.
Okay, thank you. Dharma?
I have an actual conflict with HIV Alliance, working on contracts with them.
Okay, thank you. Keisha?
I'm sorry, no conflict. But did you send these slides? Sorry.
They're not, said the spreadsheet. I don't know, Carly, did we send the spreadsheet?
Ooh, I think I only sent Lane, but I can send it right now. No problem.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're getting to the point where working a little too fast. So I'm trying to slow down a little bit,
Sorry
but
for interrupting conflict. Sorry.
no, I think we're all good. Thank you. Okay. Marion County, you can see the formula is $28.7 million, large county with that $4 million base on the formula sheet we just all looked at together. Quite a few new providers you can see. The existing providers are in orange, and you can also see the orange, green, and blue coded service areas per reviewer, and in the pink is the total NTE, and you can see that the total is $75 million with 28 million available. Moving down, you've got the panel review recommendations, which this feels like 100 years ago. We did some significant reductions and tried to spread the money around, but kept the awards a lot lower. You can see the differences there as the percentage of the ask. Down to the next chunk. These are your priorities. So these are applicants who assert they provide culturally and linguistically specific services and are in addition to the existing providers, and it brings down to this group. And we started to do that math. So scrolling all the way to the right, taking out service expansion areas and any indirect or other admin, those ED positions and whatnot. Getting that down to 70% gets it about $5 million below the formula. That's a little tiny baby silver lining. So moving back over to column O, that's where it's the less admin in that $4 million cap. It's still at 33, just where you can see Jason working there. Last but not least, down at the bottom, we've got existing providers only. And what that is are just those 6 existing providers looking at their service areas. They are all proposing enough services that would give a fully funded, a beefy burn, but the NTE is still over. It's 37 million is the total, with 28 being the but taking out reducing some of the budgets a little bit will be able to get you down to under the cap, under the formula. So and thank you, Carly, for your clinch. Can you scroll to the left, Jason? Yeah, scroll back up. Yep, there it is.
And can we scroll to the right and see what the numbers you have working with them? Okay. So there's a significant remainder at this point right here. Even if we get back their admin costs, they would still be able to be a fully funded, fully working burn that has been working together for 4 years. I like that. To add more services to the county. What does like this is a opportunity here to keep a fully funded burn working for possibly their, for the most part, for a lot of services, and or expand in the county. I just want to know what the council thinks about that.
Keisha.
So I was kind of looking at the OAC priorities. I looked at the providers only, and one of the providers asked for like 13 million on their own.
Yes, Bridgeway Recovery Services asked for 13, and Marion County Health and Human Services asked for 15.
So two of those providers asked for it almost itself. And so I don't know how equitable that would be to just go with existing providers and not open it when that ask is so it can be, spread more ways.
Hunter?
I have to agree with that. Who is the CMHP in this county?
Here, Violet.
Did you hear the baby?
I did. I'm going to guess, but we'll have to confirm it's Marion County.
Who is one of those agencies that Keisha was talking about that's asking
correct.
for half the cap?
Yep.
Marion County for 15.
Yeah.
Marion County Behavioral Health. Thanks, Jason.
Is that the same as Marion County Health and Human Services?
Oh, that's a really good question. Because
I'm not sure if they're the same entity or not. So
we need to pull up the application and really get a sense of that. I don't know, or their org chart and how they all fit together. Oh, sorry. I'm not at the top of my list. I'm sorry, Hunter. You have your hand up. I didn't see you.
No, it was an old hand. Sorry.
Oh. Okay. Sam, are you with us?
I am.
Help us differentiate between Marion County Health and Human Services, the applicant, and Marion County Behavioral Health, who is the CMHP?
Well, typically, like the county health and human services would have the behavioral health in it. So I think I just want to see or hear a little bit more about what the application says or who submitted it, because that would also help.
Yeah. Okay. I can pull that up in a second unless Kathy has something handy. Let's go to Keisha.
I have attachment A open, and it's Ryan Matthews as the executive director. Does that help?
I'm sorry, who is the executive director?
Ryan Matthews.
Yes, so that would be our CMHP.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. So that's Marion County. Keisha.
Yeah, so I think we should look at the OAC priorities and maybe taking another look at Marion County and come up in some of the percentages that we had to deduct.
Okay. Hunter?
I like that. I have a question though. In the OAC priorities, are all existing burn partners previously funded in that?
Yes, always.
Okay. Yeah. So Marion County wants $15 million. Down here at the 70%, they're only getting 2.8. If we look at this, the two agencies that are asking for the most amount of money are taking the biggest hit over here. This number at 70% is what's the county cap?
It is 28.7.
And we're at 23 at this point, so we have million to play with, correct?
Yep.
I would be interested in hearing from the rest of the council where their priorities are for dispersing that $5 million.
Keisha, new thoughts?
Yeah, I'm thinking because we had to set a cap, county cap, maybe up in the percentage across the board.
I like that.
I do too.
Welcome home, Leticia. Keisha?
Oh, I make a motion that we move forward with the OAC priorities slide and up the percentage to uh, meet the county formula.
Second.
Okay. Keisha moves, Hunter seconds. We'll capture the motion and Jason will math. Discussion. Hunter?
I think this is good work in this county. Although agencies that are previously funded aren't getting fully funded, we are introducing recovery centers for populations that didn't previously have those recovery centers there, and we've got a lot of new life in this county. I just wanted to point that out.
Great. If it's okay with y'all, it would make me feel much better to just $28.7. Wow.
That's basically 85% is leaving 100, or 86% is going 200 over. So it's right in that. If someone wants to.
I think 85 probably makes more sense.
Did I capture that correctly?
Yes. I want to make sure this looks okay. Just do folks want to see 85.5 or something else, Hunter?
How would the council feel if we disperse that 107,000 and a little over that to housing in the county? Wondering what the council thinks about that.
I like it. I agree with that.
Just evenly amongst the housing providers?
Thumbs up.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
For housing providers for housing.
Was that Hunter, and who seconded?
It was Keisha's motion, and I seconded. So I think Keisha would have to
Okay.
amend or something like that.
That's what I was wondering.
Thank you
I'm
for
gonna,
catching
I'm
that.
gonna,
Yeah.
I was wondering that, but I was gonna let him finish.
Yeah. Let's
So
get the
it'll be
math
a
done
done
and then we'll
deal.
great.
Let me know which one you want to go with.
hard to ask if Jason can train the OAC at like Excel at some point, bring us all to Salem for that.
That's way too far. No.
I know it is mesmerizing, and I'm like, wow, I'm really, really klutzy at this. Like I could be way better. I don't think so though. But I do remember to call for conflicts though. That's my win. Awesome. All right. So Keisha, let's go back to you as the motion owner. Um, so it does look like to approve OAC priorities, less administration and under the $4 million cap, and 85% of that ask, and that any remaining funds evenly dispersed to the four housing providers. Does that still look right to you? And do those numbers look like what you wanted to move forward with?
I'm sorry, but I'm looking at a whole nother spreadsheet that says OAC priorities. So this looks like on what she sent out, this is the panel review recommendations, but it's not the OAC priorities. Or am I looking at something different now? Did we move?
I've got the same spreadsheet up, and no, this is different. These are your priorities. This is not the same list as the panel review recommendations.
Oh, I didn't see the bottom of the OAC priorities. Okay, got it. I just seen it just stopped at painted horse.
Got it.
Okay, let's go. Is the math done?
The math is done.
All right.
You moved. You want to move again?
Yeah, I amend my motion to move forward with the OAC priority sheet and motion formula. The motion formula. That it.
Second.
Okay, Keisha moves. Sorry, Keisha moves, Hunter seconds. Is there any more discussion?
Uh-oh.
Oh, here she is.
I'm here. Sorry.
Let's vote.
I'm going to repeat the motion just to clarify it a little bit before we vote, and make sure that I have it correct. The amended motion is to approve OAC priorities less admin under $4 million cap and 85% of that ask, with the remaining funds evenly dispersed to housing providers. Is that correct?
That was a lot more than I said, but
And it's reflected on column S of the spreadsheet under the word motion.
That is an accurate description of what I did to get there. So
that's the way to get there. But yeah, if you need to use all those words, that's the motion.
Do we have DOJ here? Do we need Keisha to repeat the wording that I'm putting in?
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, I mean, I think that for purposes of the recording, right, that the motion needs to be spoken out loud and be clear.
Okay. So, Keisha, there's some assistance for you in the chat if you would like.
So was what I said not clear, or these are the words that need to be spoken?
The motion in the chat, I think, is the most clear, but what is on the screen under the column S under the word motion is also going to be a screenshot and put in our record keeping. So it's up to you, but I would encourage you to use the chat and decide what language you prefer to use, because this is your motion, not mine.
Now, let me open the chat.
I'm going to drop it so it's right there for you.
So, got it. Do I got to amend the motion again?
I think, Keisha, it's Shannon. I think just say that you're restating your motion for clarity.
Thank you.
I'm restating my motion for clarity to approve OAC priorities less admin under 4 million cap and 85% of that ask. Remaining funds evenly dispersed to housing providers.
Second.
Keisha moves. Hunter seconds. Any other discussion before Carly takes a roll call vote? Thank you. Go ahead, Carly.
Okay. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Hubert? Not here. Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Josh? Is Josh still here? It's quite good. Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan stepped out. Sabrina? She may be gone too. Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 9.
And we're still okay with quorum, Carly?
I'm going to double check, but I believe so.
Please double check. Thank you.
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay. Everybody okay? Okay. We're we got a half an hour and we can do a lot in a half an hour. Jason, we're going to go to Tillamook. Let's go to Tillamook, shall we? Okay. Call for conflicts. Adventist Health Tillamook, Boulder Care, Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers, Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy, Reinhardt Clinic, Tillamook County Community Health Center, Tillamook Serenity Club. Is there an actual or potential conflict of interest with any of these providers? Okay. This is an interesting county. No applicant applied for screening or assessments. That's why it is that highlighted in that cream color. But you see the distribution there. The rest of the service areas, there is at least one app. Well, at least one. Again, existing providers are in orange, new ones are in white. The panel review recommendations took funding everybody, and then you'll see the note here on the right, Lakeisha motion to move forward Tillamook County to the OAC. OHA would utilize the remaining funds, which is $486,000, with an organization for screening and assessment. And then June seconded the motion and it passed. So that is where the review panel recommendations were. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start with the beginning here. Tillamook is a $3.5 million formula. It's a small county at $2 million base. And looking at your priorities, this is just mathing out a little bit more on the panel review recommendations, taking out some of their overhead and non-direct service costs could bring the money down a little bit more, but again, it's still all under the formula. And again, the other option you asked for was existing providers only. Which if Jason scrolls down to the very bottom, it's the very last chart and just the 4 existing providers. And you can see the totals there, and which is 1.6 under the formula amount. Where do you want to start your conversation tonight, Hunter?
Can we go to where the notes were from Lakeisha's motion? So this would fund everybody, and we would use the what's left over that OHA would utilize that money to find somebody to work on those screening and assessment areas that are not funded, or that no one asked for funding in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Hunter. It was some overage and everybody's funded, and then we have OHA to find those providers for those 2 service areas.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we fund the panel review recommendations with the caveat OHA using the under or what they have left over to utilize the remaining funds to contract with an organization for screening and assessment.
Second.
Hunter moves. Keisha seconds. Caroline.
Is there a community mental health provider here who's doing screening and assessment? Do we know that?
So yeah, it's in the chat. Tillamook Family Counseling Center is the CMHP, but they are not one of the applicants.
Okay, so they didn't apply. It doesn't mean it's not existing. Is that what you said? They did not apply?
Correct.
But so they might be doing the screening and assessment within the county. I'm just a question. It doesn't change the motion.
They may be, and Keisha charged the OHA with exploring that. Thumbs up from Caroline. Other discussion? Okay, Carly, let's vote.
Okay. Do y'all want the motion repeated? Okay. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Mason? I think he stepped out for a second. Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan? Sabrina? Zeb? Zeb, if you answered, I wasn't able to hear you. Thank you. And that passes with 10.
Okay. All right, Tillamook, it's time to move to Umatilla. Is next. Thank you, Jason. Call for conflicts, Boulder Care.
I have an actual conflict with Umatilla County. I'm the owner and director of Life's Intention.
Thank you, Amy. Care Community Counseling Solutions, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, Life's Intentions, Oregon Washington Health Network. Are there any other conflicts, potential or actual? Okay. So here is our homepage. You see all of there are 2 existing providers, 3 new ones. Most of the areas are green and blue, no orange this time. The panel review, 9.9 is 10 million-ish. And the total NTE here is 20.3, so it's double. And you can see here that the panel review recommendations instituted just some ceilings, some caps for some of the service areas. You see here SUD for community counseling solutions, peer support and housing, and EOCIL also for housing harm reduction. And you see the caps of no more than $1 million for any service area, including program costs, is what the panel review came to. Okay. Oh, it's so funny. I'm scrolling at my screen, but you're not anymore. And Jason, if you prefer, I'd be happy to take back screen sharing. I think my internet has, well, dug in for the night, but do you prefer that? There?
Either way, whatever works best for you.
Okay. No, that's fine. Thank you for doing that. No, it's a lot. And so moving down to your priorities, it funds these 5 providers. And looking then, because they no instituting no service area caps, but looking at the total NTE caps as you requested. The total NTE again is here at the 20 million, and then the total reduction non-direct services as an opportunity to reduce those amounts, plus a $3 million cap gets to just over the cap with an $865,000, for lack of a better term, surplus, and bringing it down any farther than 70%. It takes it way under. So that's where that is. So that would be adding Boulder Care, Life's Intentions, and Oregon Washington Health Network. And then finally, existing providers. So it's just Community Counseling Solutions and EOCIL for a grand total of 13,356, so still over the cap, but moving some of those dollars out and then bringing it under the cap as well. Those are some of your options. Lakeisha, where do you want to start the conversation?
So, what is the cap?
The formula is 9.9 million, just about 10.
But what is the cap for each org?
Oh, it is a $3 million base.
Okay, because I was looking at one and I seen 4 million in that. Or maybe not. Okay. So, and what's the, and just the providers only is under, way under. I would start looking at the OAC priorities.
And just for the record, the existing providers only, that total request is 3.3 million, so it's still 3.3 over the cap. So OAC priorities is the providers starting at row 27 through 31.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was, okay.
Hunter?
Okay. If we look at the OAC priorities and we think about a $3 million cap, trying to look at what they actually asked for on their NTE. Community Counseling Solutions asked for a much higher than closer to that 3 million. You know,
Now they CMHP.
Yeah, they asked for the whole thing. Yeah.
I'm going to hold off and hear what other members of the council have to say.
Okay. Morgan?
Yeah, on the OAC priorities there with the less admin, we're pretty close, actually quite close. I would, just because the percent of original asks here are pretty varied, but Community Counseling Solutions is many counties. I just learned by that list that Annalise shared. So I don't know, what would you want, like a proportional reduction, or because here maybe like having or reducing the Boulder care just to try to get more like actually brick and mortar in the community, and then taking some from EOC. I don't know.
Keisha, your hand is up still or again?
Again.
Again, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would work on probably taking a deduction from the CMHP Community Counseling Solutions. How much are we over? 2 million or only 665,000?
In this scenario, it's 865 over. Under $1 million.
So I mean, I make a suggestion that we take it from the CMHP, that they take that overage and we fund all the other organizations as is.
Hunter?
That was exactly what I was going to say. And at least that we take that 865 overage away from the CMHP in that county, fund at that line right there. But wondering what other council members think about that. But I agree.
Okay, thank you. Zeb?
I'm sorry, but I can't see the allotment for this county, the formula allotment.
It's 9.955.
Okay. And am I reading this right here on line 28? K, is that 9,900,000?
Yeah, they asked for it all.
Okay. Okay, I was making sure I was reading that correctly.
Yeah, yes, you are. Other thoughts? Hunter?
Do we have that up yet? Is that in column Q?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I make a motion that we fund Umatilla County in column Q.
Okay. Hunter moves to fund Umatilla
Second.
County, column Q under the word motion, and Keisha seconds. Discussion?
Looks good to me.
Okay. Carly, let's vote, please.
All righty. Caroline, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't find my mute button.
No worries.
I think Carolyn's got control over it.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Melissa? Or I'm sorry, Mason?
Yes.
Thank you. Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan? Labs Zeb?
Yes.
Passes with 10.
Congratulations. That's good. Keep going. I have a secret to share. If you're muted, all you have to do is press your space bar and hold it to talk and then let go again. Like
Oh,
a
game changer.
walkie-talkie. Ah, I know.
That's cool.
Careful though. We have decorum here, people. Okay.
Can I
Oh
who
my
made the
gosh.
motion and seconded it on the last?
Yeah, a Hunter moved and Keisha seconded.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We're going to jump right into Wallowa County. A call for conflicts with Boulder Care or Wallowa County Center for Wellness. Wallowa Valley Center for Wellness, excuse me. Do we have any actual or potential conflicts of interest? Okay. Wallowa County has got the small formula, $2 million, and it also is a $2 million base. Boulder Care applied for 91. Wallowa County, I keep saying that, Wallowa Valley applied for the whole deal, bringing the total to $91,000 over. Panel review recommendations just brought Wallowa down to bring and kept Boulder Care intact. If I recall correctly, there were discussions about being a rural area and wanting to have more than one option. That is in column O, the admin under the cap, and then additional reductions are shown but not necessary, and the same is true with the existing providers down below. Last, Hunter.
I don't know about what the council thinks, but I think the panel review recommendations where we almost fully fund Wallowa and we still have 91,000 to introduce better services for telehealth Matt look good to me. What does the council think? I mean, I would make a motion on it, but we haven't heard from anybody.
Keisha?
Yeah, I was thinking that existing providers got us closer to the member. The existing providers only slide. I mean, because it's only the existing provider. That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So, but on the slide that says existing providers only, it looks like we get closer to the formula.
Okay. Hunter?
So on that existing providers only, the less admin, I think it's column O, we're at 1963. So I mean that remaining could go to Boulder Care or Wallowa, and we could finish this up and get to the next county. What do y'all think?
Leticia?
I would agree with that, Hunter.
Melissa?
I like the panel review recommendation and just finish it at the solid 2 million.
Is that a motion, Melissa?
It was not a motion. Just throwing in my 2 cents.
You're gonna have to make a motion eventually, Melissa.
I mean, really?
The next hand is Zeb.
I don't know if I got Zoom brain or not, but isn't the county formed at $2 million even? So the panel review recommendation would be exactly $2 million with Boulder Care getting everything they asked for and
Yep, I missed that.
minus, or yeah, it works out well for everybody. I'd like to make a
Yep,
motion.
I missed that one.
I'd like to make a motion, unless Melissa wants to make it for her first motion, to move forward the panel review recommendations.
I second.
Baby step.
There you go.
There we go.
Zeb moves to approve the panel review recommendations for Wallowa County, and Melissa seconds. Discussion? Morgan and Keisha, your hands are up. Morgan's first. Keisha?
Oh yeah, I missed that slide totally. So yeah. We didn't have
Any
to do no toggling.
No toggling. Any other discussion? Okay, Carly, let's vote.
Okay. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Jackie, I skipped over you.
That's okay. It's not hard to overlook me when I'm only less than 5 feet.
No, Jackie, it is totally me.
I'm sorry. It's late in the day. I apologize. And I agree. Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Leticia?
Yes.
Mason?
Spacebar, yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan? He's gone. Sabrina's gone. And Zeb?
Yes.
Passes with 11.
Fantastic. Carly, can you triple check quorum for us, please?
Absolutely. Give me one
Thank
second.
you. And then we're probably going to be able to pop into Wasco.
Yep, we're good.
Okay. Wasco County formula, $5 million and some change. It's a small county with the $2 million base. There you've got the providers. I'm going to call for a conflict for Boulder Care, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, Mid-Columbia Center for Living, One Community Health, Wasco County Youth Services, and Youth Employment Shelter. Are there any actual potential conflicts of interest? Hearing none. Keisha's going to have to hop off. Carly, do we have space to lose one person?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's roll. You know the drill. The total NTE for this community is 6.5%, 6.5. It's been a long day. $6.5 million. So it's about 1.5 over 1.5 million. And you'll see the panel review recommendations. I remember this one well. Funded everybody but Boulder Care. And that brought it down to 6.1 and left the rest for you all to decide. And looking at the OAC priorities, it does include Boulder Care in their application. Wasco County Youth Services did not assert that they provide culturally specific services, so they're not in there. Again, y'all can decide how you want to manage that. The NTE request total is 5.4 million, and taking out any additional non-direct client services and instituting a cap gets it down to 4.1. You know the math. And then existing providers only, it's 5.4. And then there are the reductions there. So And Wallowa Valley. Oh, sorry, we're not on Wallowa anymore. We are on Wasco. It is late. Where do y'all want to start this conversation? Oh, Kathy, I thought I was just late to the game. Thoughts?
I have a question. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the one that was taken out, the youth services one. Does anybody know any details about that? I
Want
know
me to pull up their application?
yes, real quick. I
Yeah.
know you said that didn't provide any culturally specific. I just want to know how extensive their youth programming was.
Show thing. Wasco. Project scope. Oh, the Wasco County Department of Youth Services, in coordination with the local Public Safety Coordinating Council and the participation of a number of community youth serving agencies, is developing an assessment and resource center. It will provide services to all of Wasco County. Program manager and 4 family navigator positions, which are peer support specialists. The assessment center will be open from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., 6 days a week, and serve youth 10 to 18 and their families. Youth referred to the center will have available the first contact for screening within the first 24 hours, critical part of Wasco County's continuum of substance use treatment for youth prior to addiction or dependence. The center will serve an average of 120 unique youth and families a year, or 480 youth and families during the grant period. Would you like me to read more?
No,
Mason?
that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
I would, yeah, like Keisha's saying in the chat, like that feels very culturally specific to me. Like feels like a really excellent resource to have for young people to in that county.
Yeah, let me look and see. I answered that question. Actually, it doesn't matter. I mean, you all can decide what you want to do. So, go back. So you want to look at the panel review recommendations, which includes them, or all of the providers, which would include Boulder Care.
Go for it, Hunter. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying. Hunter.
Can I look at all the providers first, and then I'm probably going to ask to look back at the panel review. Boulder Care is asking for almost $500,000, which seems like more than they've asked in some counties. And where's okay? So can we slide down so I can see all of panel review recommendations? So on column K, what if we reduced a percentage on that number to get it towards the cap? I don't know what that would be. We could start at 75. That seems about right with the numbers that are up there, but
So it's looking at least 80.
okay. At 80%, what's left over?
$190. And Mason has his hand up. but finish your thought, Hunter.
I mean, I think we've all agreed that if and when we have the money, we would like to have telehealth mat services, and it would be great to have mat services in the telehealth variety in every county. How would the council feel if we funded, I don't know if it'd be that number, the 190 that's left there or what, but funded something towards Boulder Care with these other agencies being funded at 80%, and that's with new youth services in the county.
Mason?
That's a really good idea. I totally lost what I was going to say because I like that idea.
So to be specific, Hunter, are you thinking that that leftover to whatever that is to provide for Boulder Care?
That was my idea, but I definitely wanted to hear what members of the council that have been here longer than me, I would like them to weigh on that before I would make a motion.
Keisha?
Yeah, I was asking in the chat, who is the CMHP?
Mid-Columbia.
Huh? Not on there?
No,
Yeah.
Mid-Columbia Center for Living.
So I guess I was looking at funding the panel review recommendations, less Boulder Care though, and taking going down to maybe 85% and taking the overage from the CMHP.
Mason?
Just to make sure that I'm understanding what Keisha was saying correctly, is it trying to bump up the percentage from 75, like functionally the same thing, but bump up the percentage and take down like the CMHP by an amount to make that math still math correctly?
Yeah, that and remove Boulder Care.
Hunter?
So, Keisha, you want to remove Boulder Care altogether?
Yeah, and go back to the original panel review recommendations and just up the percentage that everybody's part of their funding and take the overage, like up it to where we at 80% or 85.
I think right now we're at 80.
Yeah, maybe moving it to 90 and taking the overage from the CMHP.
And giving that back to Boulder Care?
No,
Okay.
because I think we'll still be a little over the county cap, and so it's going to be some that still has to be removed. And I was saying, take that portion from the CMHP and have these organizations almost fully functioning in this little town, and not spreading it thinner.
Thank you. Melissa's hands up.
Are there any other providers under the panel review recommendations that do, besides Boulder Care, that do telehealth, or is telehealth the only one? I mean, Boulder Care the only one.
That's a great question. I would need to go in and look at every application. I can. I don't have the answer. Your colleagues know more about these agencies.
Okay, so once we find that information out, like if there's not another provider that does telehealth, then I would be uncomfortable with completely removing Boulder Care.
I know that the Wasco County Youth Services is a drop-in, so that's, brick and mortar intentionally. So I'll go take a quick peek at the others and try to facilitate at the same time. Morgan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I saw that I said MOUD Mid-Columbia, but not whether or not it was like there was a telehealth option specifically, but I'd have to go back and look. But before we started tweaking there, I thought we had a number, Hunter, that there was like a number that was mathing with Boulder Care that got like a quite a large reduction for their ask. But and then the other orgs were getting like a pretty good portion of what they'd asked for, right? Do you remember what that was? Because that sounded
Yeah.
solid
Yeah,
to me.
it's at 80%. Every organization on here besides Boulder Care would be funded at 80%, including the new youth services. And then Boulder Care would get less than half. They would get 44%. But from my recollection, that's about around what they're asking for in other counties. So I don't know why they need more here. It's not for me to say, but I would think that with them being an agency that operates in these counties anyway, that this would definitely bolster their services. And as we know, help with the stigma of, individuals suffering from substance use disorder and not wanting to go to a brick and mortar to get treatment for it. So then they can do it over the phone and they can get the help that they need. So if it's up to me, I like there being some form of telehealth in every county because of the stigma.
Me too, just like what Melissa was saying. Well, Hunter,
And they still
motion.
and they still would because Boulder Care is a billable service. They're going to be there regardless if we fund them or not. They're gonna provide telehealth services.
Um, um, the one thing about getting to keep Boulder Care though is I feel like it is easier to coordinate between brick and mortars and the telehealth when they are actually a part of the burn, as opposed to, sure, like they're still there, but we gotta like go find them. Like it makes coordination a lot easier and gets the information out there in a way that it would be valuable to keep them on that list.
If I could jump in for a quick sec, I did a little bit more research. EOCIL is a drop-in center. Their peers work in the field, and after hours there's on-call service. So I'll keep looking. But Hunter, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we fund Wasco County in column L.
I second that motion.
Okay, Hunter moves to fund Wasco County in column L under the word motion. And under the panel review recommendations, just to be clear, and Leticia seconds. Discussion? Okay, time to vote.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha? Is Keisha still here? Oh no,
No,
she
she'd hop
left.
off.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right. Leticia?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Yes.
Passes with 10.
Congratulations. Jason, can I screen share for a minute? Please, and thank you, Jason. It's awesome tag teaming with you and Carly too. I just want to share where you're at. And today's not the 12th, it's the 13th. Every day.
Dang.
Dang is right. Is
Wow.
right. Yeah. Fantastic work. Really hard stuff.
I think we finished Josephine. We didn't finish Josephine?
Oh, maybe I forgot one.
The next one. We did.
Yeah, we did.
finished
We
Josephine
did.
County.
Well, there. I fixed it. Now it's green. Thank you. That's 5 counties to go. The review panel still has counties to go. The review panel is diving into Multnomah County in the morning, so feel free to. This is the burn happy dance. To watch and tune in with that if you are interested in that. So thank you again. Anything, Tri-Chairs, before you close for the evening? Thank you for staying a little late.
Well, thank you.
Okay, have a good evening. Take care.
Thank you.
Or